don't do drugs. They ruin lives, change people forever. I've lived it as an entrepreneur. There's a common respect for anybody who builds something and then sustains it and becomes wealthy off of it. Now, the people I'm about to talk about sold illegal products, the biggest, baddest drug lords of all time. I'm basing this off of net worth, murders, how long they lasted. When you hear the amount of money some of these guys make or made, Forbes didn't have a list for these guys. So, tier 1, narco final boss. Everybody wants to kill you, but you are top dog. No one can touch you. Enough said. So, second tier, big bags, big bodies. Lots and lots of slinging, lots and lots of killing. These guys didn't even really run drug empires. They ran nations. They ran countries. Rich to ratchet, trap house to White House. Profit margins. You could call it Fortune 500 drug lords. Not as big as covering the entire world with your drugs. And then the bottom one, famous but fumbled. You had it, you lost it like an idiot.
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch.
Most drug dealers, they get greedy, or someone inside their organization doesn't like, and they start talking, and if they don't get killed prior to that, they rat. And then that guy's done. We've seen this many times with the cartel. We're just gonna start with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Pablo Escobar. He was the dude. Nobody like him since. This man was an absolute savage. Estimated net worth, 30 to 60 billion dollars. They are still finding money buried in Colombia. This man burnt money, millions of dollars to keep his family warm while they were on the run. That is next level FU money. 4,000 people murdered. He controlled 80% of the cocaine trade globally. Bombed planes. This man killed politicians. This man did whatever he had to do to either fix a problem, paid off who he had to pay off. There was nobody bigger, badder than him. The second closest to him would be Sir El Chapo. 14 billion, 15 billion, somewhere in there. 3,000 plus murders. There's other drug lords that were worth more money, but he was the face of the Sinaloa cartel, most ruthless cartel on earth. This dude wanted to kill everybody. These guys were notorious for escaping prison and having crazy tunnel systems. The amount of effort and work. When I was in active addiction, I can only imagine what it's like being on the run for these people, and they don't care. Now, Pablo Escobar was basically just cocaine. El Chapo was cocaine, methamphetamine, fentanyl, heroin, a little bit more innovation when it comes to the product line. He got caught famously in 2016. He's sentenced to life in 2019. Pablo Escobar, he was gunned down by Colombian special forces. I remember my dad talking about this. He was on the run for years and years. This is a guy who built his own prison. Chicks in and out. You are a G. But you're also living the life as the biggest scumbag POS who's ruining lives across the world with addiction and the sickness that comes along with it. Mr. Fuentes, Armando Fuentes, that would be your number 3. This is gonna be my top tier. He was worth $25 billion, one drug, cocaine. He murdered right around 1,000 people. You've got El Chapo at 14, 15 billion with 3,000 murders, and you've got this guy 25 billion with 1,000. They called this guy the Lord of the Skies. This guy was like the innovator when it came to planes, you know, how to move drugs with flight and pilots. But the man died during plastic surgery. I've got to put Griselda at the top. She was worth about $2 billion. All cocaine. She was deported from Colombia. That's why she's on the top tier. This one was called the Black Widow because she killed for nothing. Think of how powerful that female had to be in that niche and industry to basically take out all the men in front of her or get the support of all of the men in and around her. Absolute madness. Carlos later. Big bags, big bodies. $2.5 billion. Not really the murdering type. Cocaine, main drug. And he was a co-founder of the Medellin cartel. smuggling with airplanes, normal setup for a major drug lord. The next guy is my favorite, mainly because the movie was awesome. If you can't guess at this point, Frank Lucas, a boss. Like Frank Lucas was the guy. His net worth was estimated about $50 million. He was a killer. If the guy owned Reebok or Nike, he would have run a crazy good operation. But how he grew up, where he was born, opportunities that were given to him, and then what he did in life, basically everything came down to, hey, I'm gonna run the biggest, baddest drug network in New York. This man, while Vietnam was going on, outsourced from the jungle, and they brought this stuff in military caskets. The set of cojones that Frank Lucas had to have to take American soldiers who just got shot in the face in Vietnam, running through rice paddies, let's load it up with some heroin. A lot of these guys came back with major drug addictions and issues. Heroin was so easy to get. It was everywhere. So this dude flies out, travels to the depths of the jungle, right where this whole thing is being made. Poppy fields, paste, pressed out. Thank you very much. Load them up in a bunch of dead bodies and caskets and send them home to the United States. He was arrested in 75 and did the one thing you just don't do. Don't be a rat. I remember, he's going to hate me for saying this, but my oldest son got in trouble in high school, had 3 or 4 buddies with him, and he took the whole rap. Says a lot about somebody if they do that, for real. So, big Meech. This dude made $250 million type money, and it was all crack cocaine, but he is the founder of the BMF, man. Black Mafia family. He did a lot in the hip-hop industry as well, but he was caught in 2004 or 5, and he was sentenced to 30 years. So 10 years, we might have this dude out here again. And if, the market is flooded with crack cocaine, we're going to know. But these people are awful. They're terrible human beings. They have murdered way more than 4,000. Anybody sending fentanyl over the border is murdering hundreds of thousands of people. Thankfully, I was out of the game before fentanyl was here, but I've seen it with my own eyes. And these are all like the pioneers of what is going on now. And it's disgusting, man. And this guy right here, Kunsa, was worth about $1 billion. He's had a ton of murders, but he controlled about 60% of the global heroin trade. Now, if you have 60% of the global heroin trade, pretty much everybody overdosing, at least half, a little more than half, are your overdoses, which is crazy to me, man. I don't think this dude was around for very long, to be honest with you, but this was just another guy who had the resources to make the heroin right from the source and sell it. This is Zenli Yegon, $300 million, net worth, all seized. Dude, call up Pablo Escobar and ask him who his money launderer is. Call up El Chapo and be like, yo, Chop, what are we doing, bro? He was a funder of the cartel meth industry, which is kind of weird. No murders reported for this guy. Definitely not sinister like the other guys. Bottom 2 tiers, not really sinister. That top line makes every other person on here look like a baby. And then Dawood Ibrahim. So this is India, Pakistan, $6.7 billion. Heroin was the main drug, and he did orchestrate the Mumbai bombings in '93. He was notorious for blending narco trafficking with terrorism. Apparently, he's still at large. Famous but fumbled. I wanted to do a little list with the craziest places drugs have been found. When I would drive around and be stupid, we had compartments in cars. I never thought putting some drugs in some fake boobies. That's creativity, kids. So this tier right here, really the top line and Frank Lucas. Those are the top dogs. Frank Lucas got tipped off because of that outfit he's wearing right there. The guy who was trying to figure out who was pumping the streets full of blue magic, the cop, saw this guy dressed like this, had no idea who he was. But Pablo, Chapo, Miss Blanco, ruthless scumbag human beings, probably with overdoses included. They've murdered millions and millions of people. There are detoxes and rehabs. They're flooded because of these pioneer morons right here. I don't know if our level of security is better or worse, but I have people who call me off the content and basically say that they just witnessed 5 people fall off from a fentanyl batch. I don't want to die. Can you help me? We are here to shed a little bit of light on this stuff. I went through a major tirade and self-sabotage period of my life. We want to make this stuff aware. I wish I really knew about this stuff before I got into it. I was never raised to be around the drug scene. I got caught up, opiates, painkillers. Fast forward 10 years, my life was ruined. I lost my kids, a 6-figure job. I had nothing. We have been able to turn this thing around, and I want to be able to share that with others. I know you know somebody with addiction or mental health or substance, alcoholism. Share this channel. We have a ton of content on here that can help. I am living proof right here that it can be done. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. I love you guys. Comment. Let's have some talks about this. And please tell me the mistakes I'm making talking about these people so that I can learn. Share this with somebody struggling. There's a lot of content on the channel that is becoming an entrepreneur in recovery, living in recovery. When winter comes, when spring comes, what do we do? How do we stay busy? Schedule. Guys, staying clean and sober and thriving is very, very difficult. But what I can say is no matter what happens in my day, if I don't get high, it's fine. I could have the crappiest day ever at work, personally, but if I don't get high, we're good. So if you know somebody struggling with addiction, mental health, my info is below. They can call me whenever they want. If I don't answer, I will call them right back. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Humbled, grateful. Check out the list. Pablo Escobar is the dude, the most known drug lord of all time. He is the tippity top of that tier. God bless.